Welcome back to the Max Reality. If you've seen my face before, then you know the drill, but if you're new here, my name's Morgan, and I love talking all things reality TV. We are gathered here together to celebrate the 6th day of what I have called Shark Fest, aka me catching up to where we currently are in the season of Shark Tank for my recap videos. So in case you didn't piece all that together, that means today we are going over episode 6 of season 15 of Shark Tank. Our sharks of the episode are Damon, Kevin, Lori, Mark, and Robert, giving us our second classic tank of the season. Once again, it begs the question, who do I put in the middle? Probably my favorite again. Our first pitch of the night is KrappStrapp By Air Boss. Entrepreneurs Bob and Keith came into the tank looking for $65,000 for 10% of their strap that helps you get into a comfortable position when you're trying to go number 2 outdoors. Here are some photos from their website of a mannequin demonstrating how to use the product. I feel like it's, again, one of those pretty self-explanatory products, but pretty much you wrap it around something. I saw a picture of a pickup truck or a tree, and the strap allows you to get into that crouched position, but still have your hands free for other things you need to do when you are going to the bathroom. That's the best explanation you're getting out of me. It's also got another little handy feature that I'll let Bob explain.
It's got 2 pockets, each one on each side. Toilet paper, corn cobs.
Bob.
Yes, sir.
Why do you say it holds corn on the cob?
Cause anything you want to put in it to do the wiping job,
People use corn cobs?
What?
It went on the market in October of the previous year, and so far they have sold 4,000 units. It costs them $17 to make, and they sell it for $49.95. After we get a fun little demonstration from Mark, Damon decides to start asking the hard-hitting questions like, what do they need a shark for? They say one of their biggest things is they need help with marketing and getting sales out there. They say they've tried doing the social media marketing thing, but in the end, they just end up wasting money, and they need help with getting this out there. Robert is our first shark to go out, and he just says that the product is not really for him. Then Kevin goes out in the most Kevin way possible.
I was a camp counselor as a teenager, and I've had my rear end bitten by mosquitoes while doing number 2. And that's why I have a new motto for my life. Every night I have to sleep somewhere where there's a mint on my pillow.
However, not all hope is lost because Damon is interested. He points out that he's probably the most outdoorsy of all the sharks out there, but he does want to bring somebody else in with him, somebody who has experience in the space, aka Lori, aka her squatty potty experience. This leads Mark to saying that since there are better sharks who want to make them an offer, he'll go out and let them all negotiate on their own.
And if their deal's nasty, then I'll come back in.
After having a little sidebar, Damon and Lori offer the men $65,000 for 35%. This prompts Bob, aka the star of this episode, to give the best counter that I've ever heard an entrepreneur counter.
Hey, own 1/3, and I'm
Let's go
assuming
25% and be done with this.
The sharks counter them back 33.33%. They love that number. And they end up making a deal with Lori and Damon for $65,000 for 33.33%. And we end it all on this beautiful note.
you didn't take a crap while we were here talking, did you?
Ooh. How did you know?
Final thoughts. Honestly, it was a super fun pitch. If you've ever seen any of my videos before, then you know I have a soft spot in my heart for smaller little products like this that come in and value themselves well. They were funny. You know, I hope everything works out for them. And you know, me and my friends are trying to plan a camping trip. Maybe if we do, we'll see. There are zero promises with that. And there will definitely be no footage of it. Just a review. I've really been into pointing lately. Pointing in my last video too, I think. Maybe the one before. I don't know what's up with that. Our second pitch of the night is Mini Materials. Jared walked into the tank looking for $100,000 for 20% of his mini building materials. So here's an example of some of their offerings, and as you can see, it is literally just miniature versions of building material. He says it's to use for miniature making or dollhouse building, and you can see in the corner of this photo that there's a quarter to give you a better idea of the size of everything. But they are not just cute, they are actually the real building materials. Like the cinder blocks are made out of concrete, the pallets are made out of pine wood, so it's literally miniature versions of building materials. Jared didn't come up with this idea though. He had bought the business a year and 1 month ago for $200,000. He did it by taking out a home equity line of credit on his house. If it goes belly up and they have all that inventory, he can use it to make a tiny home. Is that bad? In the last year, he has made $200,000 in sales, and he said he is making some money off of that, but he didn't say how much. He also is paying himself. He said so far he's taken about $55,000 out of the business. To talk about costing, they use the pallet of cinder blocks as an example. It comes with 24 miniature cinder blocks and then the wooden pallet. It costs them $4 to make, and they retail it for $20. Their margins range anywhere from 50 to 93%, with their blended margin being 75%. Kevin starts us off by asking the first question on everybody's mind.
Why? Why does anybody need any of this?
Like I said earlier, he says it's used for building miniatures and things like that, but also, as many of the other sharks point out, it's for fun. It's for fun. It's for silly little giggles. Damon wants to know what the age demographic is. He wants to know if it's mostly kids playing with this, or if it really is more adults who are building serious miniatures.
I don't know if I have a hard number on that I would be 100% confident in saying. I do know.
Generally?
He obviously doesn't have an answer, so Mark tries to move it along by asking about social media marketing, but Damon is not happy, and because he doesn't know his age demographics, Damon is out. Unfortunately, Damon's not the only one, as all the sharks start to go out one by one. They all have pretty similar but slightly different reasons. Kevin says the whole business is just too small. Lori, very similarly, has her famous line of, "It's a great business for you, but not investable for me." Mark thinks the whole thing is just too new and there's going to be a lot of education and marketing needed. And then there's Robert, who just doesn't see how it's going to be scalable. So unfortunately, Jared leaves the tank without a deal. Final thoughts. So I love miniatures. There's a miniature in the back there that I built. I love building little tiny things. I think it's super duper fun. So I think it's really fun. I love it. But I would just say, as somebody who does like to build miniatures, I think it's too expensive. And honestly, part of the fun that I personally have, and this might not be everybody, but I like trying to make things that don't look like what they are into something new. Like, I built that whole thing out of popsicle sticks, which, I mean, it still looks like popsicle sticks, I guess, but I don't know if that makes any sense. If I had the money to build miniatures out of this sort of stuff, maybe I would, but I just don't. Maybe if I was working on something super serious that maybe somebody was paying me for, then I could, but just stuff for myself, no matter how much I love miniatures, I just can't see myself paying these prices, especially just to build the outsides of things. They do have furniture, which is more interesting to me than the actual building supplies, but it's just so easy to make something look like concrete without it actually having to be real little concrete blocks. The furniture is it's still more expensive than I would pay, considering what most of the furniture looks like. Final verdict, while it does look super fun, and I definitely get how fun it would be to actually build a little house out of the real materials, like that just sounds so fun to me. It's just too expensive in my mind. Maybe as like a one-time thing, as a present, but overall, just too expensive. And with how early it is and all that, I definitely understand why the sharks went out. And I think this could be, as Lori says, a good little business for him. Our third pitch of the night is TIK PIK. Nicholas and Kevin walked into the tank looking for $75,000 for 10% of their guitar stick that sticks to your guitar. Like Monosuit in episode 4, this one also starts out with a fun little song.
Tick pick, the only pick that sticks.
And then we learn Kevin plays the electric guitar.
Let's do it, Kev. There you go.
Let's do blues and E.
Oh, come on, man.
Once again, we have a pretty self-explanatory product. It's a guitar pick that sticks to your guitar so you don't lose it. They say that it sticks without leaving any residue, and that it keeps its stick power even if you have to rinse it with water. So if you drop it in the dirt, you can just rinse it with water and it's good as new. They've also got a lot of compliments on the grip it has because it tends to have more grip than the average guitar pick. So the reason I picked this photo in particular is because it's actually of Nick's dad, who is a well-known Cayman Island singer who goes by the Barefoot Man.
The Barefoot Man.
Oh my God.
That's
my
my
wife
dad.
just goes nuts.
That's my father.
Obviously, when I saw that picture on their website, I knew I had to use it as the product photo so I could show the fun little clip of Mark. Anyway, it cost them $2.44 to make. They wholesale it for $15 and they retail it for $29.95, and that's for a pack of 6. They have been in business the exact same amount of time as the KrappStrapp, which I think is funny even though it's not funny. They've just also been in business since October of the previous year, but I mean, I just felt like I had to include that just because I don't know. So far, their lifetime sales are $60,000. They're expecting to do $120,000 in sales this year, and they expect to break even or maybe even get $20,000 in profit. So Nicholas and Kevin aren't the only ones in this business, though. They actually do have 3 other partners, one of whom is the guy who came up with the idea for the TIK PIK. Lori attempts to start us off by saying that she likes the idea and the name, but Mark just immediately shuts her down.
Guys, let me shortcut
Well,
everything.
let me finish.
Wait, no, hold on.
So Mark starts us out saying he doesn't know how big this can end up being, but he wants to be the 6th partner and makes them an offer of the $75,000 for 16%. They say they appreciate the offer and want to know if anybody else would be interested in making an offer because no one's really been allowed to speak yet. And of course, Mark puts his famous shot clock on them.
Oh, are you waiting?
4,
Yeah, I'm not waiting. Dude,
And before Mark can get to 0, the guys agree to make a deal with Mark for $75,000 for 16%. Final thoughts. Like Kevin, I'm multifaceted and have lots of interests, and I played guitar as a small child many, many years ago. And I definitely have memories of not being able to find a pick when I needed or wanted one. So I definitely get the appeal of this product. The only thing about it for me is the price. Like, it is a nicer pick with the thicker grip and the fact that it sticks to the guitar. But I don't know how much picks are now, but when I was playing like 18 years ago or whatever, I remember them being about 25 cents. I also remember just randomly getting them for free. I feel like they would just appear. So price-wise, it's definitely not comparable, but I see why somebody would want to buy this. I definitely get why Mark invested in it. And like I said before, I have a soft spot for these smaller products that just are simple and work and come in with pretty reasonable numbers and make a deal. So our 4th pitch of the night is Supermix Studio. Jennifer walked into the tank looking for $250,000 for 10% of her customizable clothes for kids. Here it is. How it works is you go on their website and you select what article of clothing you want to customize. I obviously picked the denim jacket. Then you select from their patches and place them wherever you want on it. You can do the front, the back, on the sleeves. Then when you're all done, you check out. They put it all together and ship it to you. I decided to use the denim jacket for the example video because that was something they used as a costing example. So it cost her $13.75 to make. The base price for the jacket is $69, and that comes with $200 of patch points. And then you'll see in the screenshot all the patches have different points assigned to them. And all the way up to $200, it's included in the $69 price. After you go over the 200 patch points, there's different prices after that. She said the usual is $15 to $20 of upsell on the patches. And this is our 3rd business out of 4 pitches to have started in October 2022. How weird is that? Maybe it's just me, but I think that's so random. Their first holiday season in business, they did $60,000 in sales. Year to date, they're at $110,000, and their lifetime are $170,000 in sales.
You're not making any money yet, are you?
We learn her next big idea is to move this from being just online into actual retail space.
But Jennifer, why?
So to explain a little more, what she's wanting to do is put kiosks into stores. That'd pretty much be an interactive touchscreen where you could design your little jacket or whatever on the screen in, say, like a Claire's or a Limited Too throwback. Anyway, you design it on the kiosk and then it ships to your house. So pretty much the exact same thing as the website, except paying for it to be in a physical location. Robert wants to know, why on earth she would think to do that. She says it's because she's a trend forecaster, and that's how she's been successful in her career in the past, is by doing things that haven't been done before, and this hasn't been done before. So she thinks it's a great in-person experience, and it's all about retailtainment, a word that I learned when I watched this episode. She says on top of the great store experience and keeping people in the stores for longer, the retailer that lets her put her kiosk in their business gets 30% of sales driven from the kiosk. So, predictably, Kevin hates the kiosk and gives us this great Kevin moment.
Take your retail shackles off.
No.
Set yourself free.
Look,
Be
very-
reborn.
She tries to defend the kiosk, saying that times are hard right now and customer acquisition rates are so high, and this will help reduce customer acquisition.
This is customer acquisition.
Yeah, but it's not.
Mark then explains that this isn't customer acquisition, talking about how pretty much as a society, we've come to two different ways we shop, either online, where we know we're going to have to wait for some amount of time, some less than others, and then in person, where we go to a store because we expect to get it right then. And he thinks people are going to be annoyed with the kiosk when they start doing it, and they may expect it to just come out right there and then see at the end about the shipping and all that. And then they'll just end up canceling their carts and won't think to ever go back to it. And because of all that and her plans for wanting to do this kiosk, he's out. And Mark's not the only one. Devin editing Morgan here, I 100% combined Damon and Kevin's names to make Devin, and that just made me laugh far too much. Anyway, definitely meant to say Damon. Moving on. He thinks this whole kiosk thing will either be a massive hit or a huge problem, and either way, it's just too risky for him. Then Kevin also super hates the retail, as he said multiple times, and gives us another Kevin line before going out.
I'm sorry, I'm out.
Kevin.
And don't come too close to me with that retail 19.
While they were going out, Lori and Robert were having a little sidebar and have decided that they're interested and make an offer of $250,000 for 25%, plus a 5% royalty until they make back their initial investment. Then Mark and Kevin have a little moment where Mark says that that is a horrible offer, and Kevin says it's a great offer. Mark doesn't really get time to explain his reasoning it's a bad offer, but Kevin goes in being like, there is no money in your market right now. It's incredible that you even got an offer with how you want to go into retail. You should take this. She decides she'll try to counter them to $250,000 for 20% and a 2% royalty. Lori and Robert are fine with the 20%, but say the royalty has to be higher and counter 3.5% royalty. And they end up making a deal for $250,000 for 20% equity and a 3.5% royalty until they're paid back their initial investment, and then it goes away. Final thoughts. I hate the kiosk idea. I just can't even describe to y'all how much I don't like it. When she first even kind of said there would be a physical location, I also thought it would be more of like a storefront, more of like a Build-A-Bear, which is frustrating because at one point she compares herself to Build-A-Bear, but it's like those kiosks are not comparable to Build-A-Bear. I have a lot of feelings about this one. Anyway, I thought it would be like a Build-A-Bear where you walk in, there's racks of clothes, you pick it out, there's maybe like a counter with people who are doing the presses for the patches, and you take it and you go home. That would be the only way taking up retail space makes any sense to me, because I am on the same team of Mark's, where if I'm going into a store, I expect to take something home. Like, I'm not going to a store for something that I'll get later, unless it's something like really big. I don't know, like a super big furniture item that you have to have delivered. But normally, like for clothes, I'm expecting to go to the store and bring it home. I don't want to enter my information on some kiosk tab thing, especially when you just could do it online and the website works really well. It's easy to use. The kiosk thing just frustrates me, especially when she compared it to Build-A-Bear, because it just doesn't feel comparable to me. I was trying to figure out if the kiosks have actually happened yet. Went on their website expecting there'd be some kiosk locator, like a store locator thing, and on the kiosk tab, the only thing there is how you can apply to put a kiosk in your store. So I don't know where we are on that. I really was hoping Robert and Lori would talk her out of it, but maybe that wasn't even possible. So, final thoughts. I think it's a really fun Cute idea. I definitely would have begged for it as a kid. I loved personalized stuff. I think the price is fine for kids' clothes, for customized kids' clothes. Like, you can get quite a few patches for that $200 patch thing. When I first went on the website, I was definitely assuming that it was like the jacket and then you paid for patches. I was impressed that the $69 included any amount of patches at all. I think the website's super easy to use, like I said. Overall, I think it's a great product how it is, and I hope Robert and Lori can keep her on this path, because I just don't like the kiosk. I just feel like it just feels like more problems. It feels like you're making problems that don't need to be there. But overall, loved it. Just not the kiosks. I feel like Kevin. Then at the very end of the episode, we get this message that says any on-camera deal is contingent upon due diligence and the signing of a binding written agreement between the entrepreneur and the sharks. I don't think we've ever gotten this message before. I could definitely be wrong. We definitely haven't gotten it this season. I really want to know. I feel like it has to be, in reference to somebody's pitch that happened during this episode. I honestly haven't had time to dig into it. But if you know something, as always, let me know in the comments. And that is a wrap on the 6th day of Shark Fest. If you are still with me, thank you so much. I am not feeling very well while I've been recording this, but I wanted to finish Shark Fest. I made a commitment and I want to get through it in the time that I said I would. So I am trooping on. And if you're here still right now listening to this, you are too. So thank you. It's also just like, if I don't stay on track, it's going to end up piling up more. And then we get to where I am right now, where I'm having to do 7 episodes in a very condensed amount of time. And I don't want to get here again. I want to get caught up and stay caught up with the season. Speaking of which, once we're caught up, I kind of brought it up when I'm talking about the schedule in the first episode, but pretty much it'll be every other Monday and Friday. There'll be Shark Tank recap episodes, is how that's going to work. It'll be the 2 most recent ones that have happened. The 2 last Fridays. That also always depends on ABC's airing schedule. They like to take random breaks, so we'll ebb and flow with that, but otherwise that is the schedule. And then every other Wednesday, just whatever I want reality TV video. My final questions, like always, have you tried any of the products from this episode? Are you wanting to try any of the products from this episode? Can you tell from my voice that I do not feel well? Let me know any of that and all of that in the comments. And until then, I will see y'all in the next one.